Welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers.
We're your hosts, Mary Anne
and Ching-en.
Please join us as we explore the journeys amazing people take in pursuit of their dreams.
And get insights from their experiences.
Let's hit the road
and get started.
Hello, and welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers with me, your host, Mary Anne Sioco. For those tuning in for the first time, Formosa Dream Chasers is a show about ordinary folks who have stepped out of their comfort zones and have taken a chance on themselves, on their passions, and on their dreams. We sit down with people from all walks of life and we talk about what it really takes to build something meaningful, whether it's here in Taiwan or elsewhere. Today's episode, however, is a continuation to last week's monologue, where it is more of a reflective sharing, if you will, about where we are while we chase after our dreams. So again, there's no guest, no interview, just me, myself, and some of my thoughts. So last week we were talking about how people spend most of our lives working. I mean, if we really look at the amount of time we are supposed to spend at work, that will be around 8 hours a day, and most full-time employees work from 1,700 to 2,100 hours per year. And that's depending on your country and industry. Obviously, we know that some countries, the hours are longer. People are expected to do more overtime. It's just part of the culture. And then some countries have more of a work-life balance. So it's not going to be the same everywhere. However, we do generally break down our hours into 3 areas generally, which would be work, sleep, and life. Now, life would be the things that we have to do, like eating, doing chores or errands, taking care of personal hygiene, and so on and so forth. So, the reason why I bring this up is because if we sit back and think about these things, so much of our time, energy, and identity becomes tied into what we do. And honestly, our dreams in real life often look very different from the polished success stories we often see online or on media. Because we are not living in that we made it moment, right? We are living in the middle of things. The uncertain part, the exhausting part, and the repetitive part. This would be the early mornings, the late nights, putting in the overtime, facing all of the setbacks, and having the periods of self-doubt. Simply said, it is the invisible work that nobody applauds, and that's where we oftentimes find ourselves. And I think this is important to remember because chasing dreams in real life doesn't always feel the way you thought or imagined it would. Most dreams are built quietly and over long periods of time. We build our dreams in, offices, in small apartments, in side hustles after full-time jobs, or in moments where people are honestly just trying to hold themselves together long enough to keep going. So today, I want to continue our conversation by talking about something that often gets lost in the pursuit of our dreams. I want to discuss what we are sacrificing while trying to build the life we want or trying to achieve our goals and dreams. For many of us, the danger is not only in failure. I think there are many things we end up sacrificing without being completely conscious about the actions we are taking when we're so focused on trying to realize our dreams. Sometimes the danger is succeeding while slowly losing yourself in the process. There's this belief or mindset that many of us hear growing up, and that's if you want something bad enough, you have to sacrifice for it. And I don't disagree with this, since to some context, this is true. Every meaningful goal requires effort. We need discipline, consistency, and honestly, discomfort, because we have to get out of our comfort zone to get to where we want to go, right? But somewhere along the way, sacrifice stops becoming temporary and it starts becoming the norm. For example, if you think about it, people that you know most likely are exhausted. Being constantly tired has almost become a standard of some sort. People you know or think of, I'm sure most of them would probably be burnt out. They're overwhelmed, and more often than not, they're just really, really busy. And because everyone around us is struggling, we start thinking this is normal and that it is okay. However, just because something is common doesn't mean it's healthy. I think one of the biggest ironies of life is that we often destroy the very things we hoped or wanted our success to eventually improve in our lives. We sacrifice our health trying to earn money and later spend whatever money we earned trying to recover our health. Or we work endlessly to provide a better future for our loved ones, and then unintentionally become emotionally absent in the present when we are actually with them. We chase careers that we think will make us happy or that we love doing until the stress of the effort or that career slowly drains all the joy from what inspired us in the first place. And the really scary part about this is that we don't pay attention, or we aren't aware when this is already happening to us. Burnout usually arrives really quietly. At first it feels like fatigue. You're more irritable, you're more distracted, you're more emotionally numb, and you stop doing small things that used to make you feel alive. Maybe you stop reading, you stop exercising, you stop replying to friends, and you stop sleeping properly. You stop spending real quality time with family, with friends, with all of your loved ones. And when we notice that this is happening already, oftentimes we may tell ourselves that it's only temporary. We say, just until this project ends, or just until things calm down, or maybe just until I reach this next goal. But then another project appears, another deadline, another responsibility. Next thing you know, months or even years have passed in survival mode. And I think a lot of people don't even realize how disconnected they've become, because productivity keeps giving us this illusion of progress. We're still functioning, we're still delivering results, and we're still meeting expectations. So from the outside, everything looks fine. But internally, you're so exhausted and so tired in such a way that sleep alone cannot fix it. Maybe some of you listening to this know the feeling that I'm talking about, especially when you're the type who is deeply driven or has this intrinsic need to do well. There's often this kind of invisible pressure that is carried within us, not just personal ambition, but responsibility. Maybe we want to support our family. Maybe you're trying to create stability in your life that you never had before. Maybe you feel like slowing down would disappoint people relying on you. Or maybe you simply feel guilty resting because there's always so much more that needs to be done that hasn't been done. And honestly, that pressure is real. But we also need to ask ourselves a very difficult question. At what point does hard work stop being dedication and start becoming self-neglect? I don't know if you've noticed it, but our society, to some degree, rewards unhealthy work behavior. We get praised for overworking. People admire those who never stop and glorify the hustle culture. But we don't always see the hidden costs to all of this. The anxiety, the insomnia, the strained relationships, the emotional exhaustion, and the moments where people sit alone, wondering why achieving more doesn't feel like it's enough. Perhaps part of the problem is that we've tied our self-worth too closely to productivity. Many people don't know how to feel valued unless they're accomplishing something. Rest starts feeling unearned. Doing nothing feels uncomfortable. Even hobbies become things we try to optimize. And when one's worth becomes connected entirely to output, our perspective towards life changes. It slowly starts feeling transactional. We stop asking, "Am I happy?" and start asking, "Am I doing enough?" I think that's one of the saddest shifts that can happen to anyone, because life becomes something to be managed instead of something to be experienced. If we take a step back and take a good, long, hard look at the moments in life which we cherish the most, the truth is, many of these meaningful moments are not productive at all. Having a nice, slow dinner with people you love, walking your dog without rushing, and enjoying the time together, calling a friend just to talk and catch up, being indoors and watching the rain in the warmth of your bed, laughing with friends so hard until your stomach hurts, being able to get that long and restful sleep. These moments don't appear on resumes, but it is these times that make us appreciate life. There's a quote by Henry David Thoreau that says, "The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it." Admittedly, this quote didn't really sink in until I got a whole lot older. So Thoreau was basically talking about how we spend our most limited resource, which is time. And if you think about it, everything and every opportunity costs something. Time, energy, attention, presence. We give all of these up to get something in exchange. We exchange the hours of our lives, our energy, and our spirit to get something. The question is whether we are consciously choosing these sacrifices, or just exchanging them automatically because that's what success looks like. This doesn't mean we should stop pursuing dreams. Of course not. Dreams matter. Purpose matters. Meaningful work matters. But I don't think it's healthy to have a mindset where we are willing to achieve success at any cost. You can say success has a price, and we have to understand what is the price we are paying for the success we want to achieve. So all of these thoughts come from personal experience. I spent the last 25 years or so working not on a singular specific dream, but generally wanting to have more stability in my life, which translated itself to a good paying position, but at the exchange of a lot of my personal time, my relationships, and my physical, emotional, and mental health. And what I was saying about not realizing that you're sacrificing all these things was what actually happened to me. So I hope your takeaway from today's episode is that as human beings, we're not designed to operate under constant pressure. Yet emotionally and mentally, we treat ourselves worse than machines, always pushing, always producing, and always feeling behind. We need to stop romanticizing the idea of being too busy to live, because there's a difference between building a meaningful life and postponing life entirely. We shouldn't wait for permission to finally enjoy ourselves and rest. I used to tell myself, I'll rest after I finish this project. Or I'll spend time with family and friends after work is under control. Or I'll take care of my health later. I kept on telling myself that I will give myself time, and to be frank, it was few and far in between that I was actually able to give myself permission to do that. Remember the quote from Henry Miller that I shared last week? It goes, "One's destination is never a place, but a new way of seeing things." So what I want to say is this. Maybe real success is not just reaching a goal or a destination. Maybe it's learning how to remain present during the journey itself, to still notice life while building a future, to still protect your health while pursuing goals, to still nurture relationships while working hard, and to still remain true to yourself in the middle of the chase. Because if chasing your dream costs your peace, your health, your relationships, and your entire sense of self, then you have to ask, what exactly are you arriving at in the end? I now think that real success is building a life where achievement and well-being can exist together. A life where your dreams have space to grow without completely consuming the person chasing them. And wherever you are right now, whether you're exhausted, uncertain, overworked, or still slowly building something meaningful behind the scenes, I hope you remember this. Your dream matters, but so do you. Thank you for tuning in to Formosa Dream Chasers, and I'll see you next week.